Football, 100 Million Simulations to Football King, Episode 121, Plum Twice Opened. Conflict Resumes. Su Long changed the situation that his team was behind at the beginning. Although United attacked many times, they still did not break the Manchester City goal. Sometimes that's the way things are, and opportunities are missed when they are missed. Manchester City were able to hold their ground in the first 10 minutes of the game. The teammates are also slowly getting into the game, which is much better than when the game started. In the 10th minute, City finally waited for their first threatening attacking opportunity. Su Long was fouled outside the box and City were given a free kick opportunity. The fans in the audience immediately booed, and the arrogance of the Red Devil fans completely overwhelmed the Blue Moon fans in the corner. But the Blue Moon fans did not give up at all, still cheering for their team, shouting. Su Long was now their hope. The voices of CCVV5's two commentators also began to stir. Now whether it is the commentary or the audience, the Dragon Kingdom is a fan of Manchester City, which is beyond doubt. Dunn's free kick, long pass into the box, found Su Long 2 ball furried to Fowler. Fowler adjusted one step and shot at goal. Oops, didn't get in. Su Long entered. Su Long shot in. Oh my god, this is the first time Su Long has shot a makeup shot this season. I can only say that Su Long is too invincible. It's like an elf in the forbidden area. Manchester United goalkeeper Carroll has no way at all. Carroll has done a very good job, saving Fowler's shot beautifully, but no one can defend against Su Long's supplementary shot in front of goal. Ferguson stood on the sidelines, constantly telling Ferdinand to keep an eye on Su Long. Ferdinand was wronged, he was defending Fowler, and he couldn't be separated. When Su Long crossed the ball, who defended him? It's Keane. Keane didn't speak either, it was he who defended Su Long, but he was already fighting with Su Long, but Su Long's core strength was too strong, and he was pushed away by Su Long. Can you believe it? My cousin Keane turned out not to be an 18-year-old rival. Keane couldn't help it, and that's the way it was. If there is no way, then he will have to be abolished. In 10 minutes, Manchester City scored the first goal to lead Manchester United away. Who would believe it before the game? Su Long is always able to create miracles. Yes, we must believe Su Long, but Manchester United won't give up so easily. In the 15th minute, Gary Neville threw the ball into the box and O'Shea nodded the ball wide and Wayne Rooney's header from 12 yards was slightly offside. Rooney kicked the grass in anger. Su Long scored a goal for Manchester City first, which put a lot of pressure on the Manchester United players. In the 22nd minute, Wright broke through the middle of the road continuously, and then after seeing Su Long reach out, without hesitation, immediately a cross passed. But inside the penalty area, Su Long's battle for the top did not fight Ferdinand and was cleared by Ferdinand's header. The fans cheered and cheered for the team. Just one goal behind, there's still a chance. Su Long laughed and clapped, indicating that this is a good ball. Right, play like this, and you can score again soon. Wright nodded, and now Wright trusts Su Long very much, because he has assisted Su Long 15 times and is already the Premier League's assist king. The source of all this is Su Long's goal. Su Long's words, of course, Wright believed. In the 28th minute, Rooney's low shot from the edge of the penalty area was deflected into the far corner, shook his head violently, and was very unhappy. Why did Su Long enter as soon as he shot it, and he couldn't shoot it himself? Rooney, who has always been the proud son of heaven, faced Su Long and began to believe in himself a little in his heart. And I was in a hurry, why didn't I score for so long today? Rooney, in anger and anxiety, instead showed a technical deformation, and the shot was even more inaccurate. Ferguson, on the sidelines, chewed on gum and kept staring at the players on the court, not knowing what to say. The current situation is completely unexpected by Ferguson. Su Long's goal was too unexpected. Unexpectedly, Ferguson couldn't think of how to adjust it now. Let the team adjust on its own. I can only go and trust the team. In the 37th minute, Wright crossed again, still with the same recipe, the same taste. This time, Su Long pushed Ferdinand away in the penalty area and rushed to the front point to push the shot. This scene, Su Long is very familiar with in the memory fragments, with a similarity of 70% to 80%. Su Long rushed forward very resolutely. Ferdinand was also very resolute in shoveling through, but this foot, at the same time as shoveling Su Long was already out of his foot. Su Long's foot touched lightly, and the ball had already hit the goal. Incredible, incredible, incredible. ESPN's special guest Paul Parker is no longer a Manchester United player. He now has only one identity, that is, Su Long's fan. What a wonderful goal. Look at Ferdinand, desperate. This game is going to wipe out Ferdinand's £20 million worth of money. The Manchester United backline has nothing to do with Su Long. 2-0. Su Long may open twice. The question now before Manchester United is how to stop Su Long. The entire Manchester United fans were completely quiet. This was followed by a huge tsunami-like boo, to Su Long, but also to Manchester United players. How Nima was blown up by an 18-year-old boy. Znima, refund money. That's what Manchester United fans are saying right now. Carroll pounded the ground in anger and roared at what you guys were doing. Ferdinand couldn't help it, he pushed him from outside the penalty area and didn't push him down. Su Long's core strength was too strong, and then he entered the forbidden area at once. When Su Long entered the forbidden area, Ferdinand did not dare to mess around again. Wouldn't it otherwise be a penalty? I didn't expect to be afraid of what was coming, Su Long scored. By this time, Ferguson was back on the bench. He chewed gum and was expressionless, but his hands on the chair were slightly clenched, and he could see a slight trembling. How is this possible? Ferguson and Keegan have been rivals for so many years and are well aware of Keegan's strength. That year, Ferguson could break Keegan's defense with a single word, and then that year reversed Keegan's Newcastle and won the league championship. Keegan definitely did not have such an ability, that is, Su's ability alone. Regret, I didn't take Su Long. In the 38th minute, Rooney tripped Su Long from behind and received a yellow card. At halftime, the atmosphere on the United dressing room was a bit dull. After Ferguson's roar of a hairdryer, the crowd eased up slightly, but the atmosphere was still there. Ferguson can't help it, and the skill of hairdryer doesn't work every time. Manchester City, on the other hand, is full of laughter and momentum. Keegan cautioned that anything can happen on the football pitch. Be careful not to be careless. Then a few pushes were made, and the second half of the game began. In the 47th minute, Wright's cross was flippantly blocked by Carroll, and Su Long once again appeared in front of the goal. The hearts of all the Manchester United fans are going to stop. This is the god of death, scoring as soon as it appears. It's scary. The next second, Su Long did not have time to lift his feet, and was shoved from behind by Keane. Su Long screamed in pain and fell to the ground. The Manchester United fans cheered. That's it. Shovel this abominable guy. Kill Manchester City. Paul Parker opened his mouth slightly, shook his head, and said, "Oh my god, Keane's foul. It's too bad. It's a foul on a person and should be given a red card. Although I am a player from Manchester United, this time I have to be on the side of Su Long. Such a foul is too bad, and if unfortunate, it will ruin the life of a player. At least one red card, there's no doubt about it. And you have to suspension, otherwise, if you see an opponent who can't kick in the future, you will directly take him off the field. Will this kind of play also be used?" Su Long covered his feet and grinned. "Oh, it hurts." At this time, Manchester City fans in front of the TV, saw Su Long's back on the ground, were very worried. "Su Long, don't be in trouble. Don't get hurt at this time." The players and coaching staff of the national football team were also watching the game, and when they saw Su Long injured, their hearts were giggling. Su Long wouldn't be hurt at this time, right? In the World Cup qualifier 7 days later, playing Hondao, there is no Su Long. Under the pain, Su Long's brain was more awake. It is because of his own 2 degrees, resulting in the time of his being shoveled earlier. Iron Man feature activated, medium to mild injury. Su Long breathed a sigh of relief, medium to mild injury, fine. At this time, the referee ran over and directly pulled out a yellow card. Manchester City players surrounded Keane and Manchester United players immediately came over to separate the 2 sides. Keane smiled and walked away without saying anything. The fans cheered even more. "That's it, kick him. Head coach, he's going to the people. He's killing people. You Manchester City don't spew blood. This is just an ordinary breaking action. Roll Niam as Manchester United killer. Cowards, if you can't beat them, you can kill people." The conflict between the 2 sides has risen again. In the confusion, Su Long saw that Keane still wanted to turn back and step on his face, and immediately stood up, and a shoulder hit Keane's jill with his shoulder. Keane screamed bitterly and fell to the ground. Then the 2 sides were pulled apart. The referee walked up to Su Long and gave Su Long another yellow card. Su Long shook his head, preventing his teammates from continuing to pestering the referee. "Not necessarily. A yellow card for a jill shock, okay, but that's not all. Keane, you wait for me." At this time, the Manchester City team doctor came over and took Su Long to the sidelines for emergency treatment. On the pitch, the referee immediately pointed to the penalty after giving the yellow card that should have been issued. The fans booed in a burst. Keegan asked worriedly, "Su, how are you feeling? If you don't feel well, take a break." Su Long looked over there at Keane, who was chatting happily with his teammates, and said lightly, "Wait a minute." Suddenly, the fans cheered. Looking back on the field, Fowler's penalty was blocked. United's morale was up all at once. Su Long could feel the change in the atmosphere of the stadium. Su Long frowned. This can't go on. He has to play. Episode 122. The Korean War. I never avenge overnight. For Manchester City, as Fowler's penalty was saved, the hearts of their teammates changed. Su Long inspected his injuries. Moderate to mild injuries, after simple treatment, have become mild injuries or mild injuries. You can still play. As long as you don't get hurt again, you can rest for a week after the game. As a result, Su Long quickly returned to the game. Su Long smiled at the crowd and said, "It's okay, we'll win." Then look at Keane. Keane looked at Su Long's eyes a little surprised. There was no fear on Su Long's face. Was this young man really not afraid at all? Looking at Su Long's eyes, Keane, a famous evil man in the Premier League, had a little hair in his heart. It's impossible, I fouled like this, how can Su Long have any impact at all? The next time he dares to attack, I'll cut off his foot. If you want to complain, complain that you are my enemy. In the 59th minute, Fowler's low shot from 22 yards was slightly offside. Carroll kicked a big kick to the left, landing right in the middle of Su Long and Keane. Keane took a look at Su Long. If Su Long dared to rush up, he would teach Su Long to be a man. However, the next second, the cheers of the fans turned into a burst of boos and curses. Unexpectedly, Su Long and Keane jumped up together. Ah! Keane screamed bitterly, and the whole person fell to the ground. The referee blew the whistle. Keane's face was confused, his elbows were numb. He couldn't even fight for Su Long's top? The next second, Keane screamed again and covered his underneath. Keane was sweating profusely and crying out in pain. He covered himself underneath, and he was stepped on. 13. It feels like the whole underside doesn't belong to you anymore. Nemes dared to foul himself in this way. Is this guy crazy? Su Long coldly looked at Keane, who had fallen to the ground. Su Long took revenge and never stayed overnight. If there is any vendetta, it will be repaid on the spot. The Manchester United players rushed up, but were separated by Manchester City players who also rushed up. The referee came straight up and gave Su Long a yellow card. 2 yellows turn 1 red. Captain Dunn immediately defended Su Long, saying, "Mr. Referee, is this a yellow card? Is this a foul? It's a two-man fight." The referee shook his head, pointed to his eyes, and said, "I saw everything." Su Long ignored it, and under the protection of the substitute players, walked directly back to the player channel. Today the referee is clearly biased in favor of Manchester United. Barton and Thatcher looked at Keane, who had been carried away, and sighed. Oh, we're all inferior to Su Long. Manchester United are so bullying, even the referees are biased. Manchester United, what are we afraid of? Gone tread. Then, the two looked at each other, and then at Luo and Rooney, with fierce eyes. Originally, the momentum of Manchester City was a little weak, even if it was 2-0, but the momentum was suppressed by Manchester United, especially Fowler's penalty was not scored, and Manchester United's momentum came to the top, but was forcibly interrupted by a ferocious foul by Su Long. And Manchester City's side has provoked bloodshed because of Su Long's revenge. You Manchester United have referee support, right? I don't believe that gone can't kill you. After Su Long returned to the locker room, the development of things exceeded Su Long's expectations. The fire of the two teams is growing. In the 74th minute, Luo was directly kicked by Barton and went down to the field for treatment. Barton received a yellow card. Then 3 minutes later, Rooney was hit on the back of the head by Thatcher's elbow while fighting for the top, and he lay directly on the ground. The two sides clashed directly, but Keane was absent, and United's fighting power was clearly insufficient. And soon, the clashes between the two sides were stopped again. After that, Rooney returned after the treatment, but did not score consecutive shots. Finally, in stoppage time, Rooney finally scored a goal, but it was too late. In the end, Manchester City won the derby, 2-1 away from home. The fans booed and cursed, and the Manchester United fans on the scene clashed with Manchester City fans. I can only say that this derby battle is very exciting. After the game, Ferguson angrily scolded Su Long, Barton and Thatcher were murderers, and demanded that the league punish them severely. Keegan said to reporters, "This can't be blamed on Su Long, he is a good boy, a good player. Let's not talk about the scale of the referee's penalty. The cause of it all was Keane's egregious foul. This is Keane's first act of dehumanization. Isn't the conniver of all this the same as Manchester United's executive, Ferguson himself? Keegan is not afraid of Ferguson. Ferguson has someone in the Premier League. I know more people in Keegan." In the mixed interview area, Su Long was also asked by reporters about the red card of the game. Su Long shook his head and said, "I am not right for the ball. This penalty is wrong in my opinion. At that time I was fighting with the top of the person. This is a very normal confrontation behavior. After he fell to the ground, he also stretched out his feet to hinder me from fighting for the ball. I accidentally stepped on him. Is this a foul on me?" The reporter immediately said, "But he was injured, and I heard that he was sent to the hospital." "Oh, then I don't know. I think it's a very normal confrontation. Is he too weak?" When this interview came up to the TV station, it happened to be seen by the injured Keane, and Keane's face was black. "Boy, I want revenge. You wait for me." After the game, in the Manchester United manager's office, Ferguson was so angry that he threw things. Keane was injured and needed to recuperate for a month. Ronaldo was injured and needed to recuperate for a week. When Su Long learned that Luo was injured and missed a week of competition, he was also very surprised. You must know that at that time in the locker room, Barton patted his shoulder and said that he had deposed Luo on the other side and avenged Su Long. The meaning of this abolition is at least to lie like Keane for a month. Barton was also confident. "I didn't expect it to be a minor injury. A week is fine." It can only be said that Luo is really the body monster of all time. For an injury of more than 1 month for an ordinary player, it is a minor injury in Luo for a week. Isn't this the Iron Man feature? That is, such a physical attribute. In order to be 35 years old, can still run on the field, more fierce than others at 25 years old. After this match, a big battle broke out between Manchester United fans and Manchester City fans. From the stadium to the newspaper and then to the internet, even the Dragon Kingdom forum received the impact. Manchester United fans say Su Long was a murderer at a young age. Manchester City immediately retorted, "Do you still have fewer murderers in Manchester United? It's all a prison. How many people Keane has hurt, and now that the murderer is sanctioned, everyone in the world is laughing." Originally, there were many Manchester United fans in Dragon Country, but since Su Long went to Manchester City, the home of Dragon Country fans has been in Manchester City. In this conflict, the Dragon United fans complained twice on the internet, and they were directly blown up by the overwhelming Manchester City fans. Su Long, the center of the storm, knew nothing about this. After the Manchester City derby, Su Long immediately took a plane to Seoul, Hando, and arrived in Seoul, Hando on the evening of February 13th, and successfully disembarked. Then with a private transfer, we came to the Dragon Country team's accommodation, the Crown Garden Hotel Seoul. The national football team is a double room, and Su Long's roommate is Jing Ji of the same team. At this time, there are still 5 days left before the first game of the World Cup qualifier quarterfinals, which is enough for Su Long to reverse the jet lag and train with his teammates. The day after Su Long came to Hondao, all the sports media on Hondao published a report that the Dragon is coming. Su Long arrives in Seoul, and the Battle Korea Island will be lightly injured. The night before was still in the Premier League, today has arrived on Han Island. Will Su Long appear in the Sino-Korean War? Dragon Kingdom smoke bomb. Su Long has a high probability of not playing with injuries. Su Long's significance to the Sino-Korean War is undoubtedly nuclear bomb level, and his appearance on Han Island naturally attracts the attention of Hondao. In fact, Su Long, as the biggest card in Asia in the Premier League, is also the king of goal scorers, young and 18 years old, dancing teenagers, with resolute eyes, and has a large number of female fans in Hando and Hajima. So on the second day of Su Long's stay at the Crown Garden Hotel in Seoul, he went out to dinner and encountered an attack by a female fan group. Su Long was frightened by the enthusiasm of female fans, not to mention the other national football players who came out with Su Long. Fortunately, the female fans only asked for Su Long's autograph and did not do anything excessive. The team members felt that they had been hit, and all of them had come to find Su Long, and they did not look at themselves. Sports reporters in Hondao have been tracking Su Long's whereabouts every 347 days in the week before the game, speculating whether Su Long will play in the Sino-Korean War. Domestic fans are also discussing. Many fans said that Su Long had been injured in the derby before, and the Football Association and the national football team should not let Su Long continue to play. In case of injury, what to do? Not only the fans are worried, now Su Long is also the baby of the Football Association and the national football team. Head coaching Tai asked Su Long on the first day of Su Long's arrival, if Su Long is uncomfortable, this game can rest and not play. Su Long of course refused. He participated in the Battle of the Manchester City Derby, the Asian National War, and as a Dragon man, how could he refuse? On February 18th, at the pre-match press conference, Su Long was on the starting squad and the atmosphere in the Hondao national team was very depressing. Su Long really started the game. Didn't he get injured in the game a week ago? Although the players of the Hondao national team have not played with Su Long, the shadow of the famous tree of the person, the prestige of Su Long can shock the whole of Asia. Bundesliga, Premier League, World Junior Championships, Toulon Cup, Asian Cup, all kinds of horrific records. The Hando national team was 3 points weaker by 3 points before the game began. Head coach Bon Fry immediately played the highlights of the 2002 World Cup, hoping to inspire the confidence of the players of the Korean Island national team. Your ancestors of Hondao have also been wide. Just 3 years ago, the World Cup Final Four. Dragon Kingdom has only reached the final round once in the World Cup, which is far from your Korean island. Are you so willing to fall now? The Dragon Kingdom is not as powerful as imagined. The strength of a player proves nothing. We in Hando as a whole are stronger than the Dragon Kingdom. Believe in ourselves. Last year's Asian Cup was a disgrace. We must cheer up this game. Head coach Bon Fry Ray did not say that it was okay. As soon as he said that the 2002 World Cup, the Korean Island national team was on its own. Hondao people themselves know that in the 2002 World Cup, Hondao's top 4 position was bought with money to buy black whistles. But now I can't buy a black whistle. How else to play this? Episode 123. Fiasco. The mentality of the Hondao national team collapsed. In the 2002 World Cup, South Korea bought 3 black whistles in a row, and even Portugal and Italy won the black whistle until the Final Four. Because such behavior is too bad, after this, whether it is the AFC or FIFA, as long as it is an international match, the referee of the Korean Island match is strictly supervised, and it is difficult to buy a black whistle. You stupid foreign coach, now you are still talking about the 2002 World Cup. We can't buy the black whistle now. What else to win? Bon Fry did not understand Korean Island football at all, and wanted to use the tradition of Korean island football to watch videos to motivate the Korean island national team, which made the Korean island national team even more desperate. At the Seoul World Cup Stadium on February 19, the bus of the Yongguk national team stopped at the entrance of the stadium, and the players of the national team watched one by one get off the bus. Outside the separation belts on both sides stood a dense crowd of fans. Lee Jinyu, Xiao Jiai, Li Weifeng, Xing Ji, come on, Dragon Country team, come on. Fans cheer for their favorite fans. The players walked by and signed the names of the top fans. Su Long was the last to step off the bus, and as soon as he stepped off the bus, a deafening scream suddenly broke out. Su Long, Su, Dragon, not only Chinese, but also obvious Korean Chinese. Many Korean girls who came to support Su Long held up Korean Su Long posters, and when they saw Su Long coming, they screamed again. Su Long smiled and waved his hand, and the girls called Su Long with their autographs. Thank you, thank you. Su Long thanked him and signed a few signed photos, which caused a series of screams. The accompanying CCTV5 reporter filmed this scene and couldn't help but sigh. Is this the charm of football? The male reporter next to him smiled. If they know anything about football, just watch Su Long Shui 2 hours later. The game starts. This is CCTV5. Welcome to the first match of Group A of the quarterfinals of the 2006 FIFA World Cup Asia qualifiers. We are away to Hangzhou. I am. Today's two commentators are Teacher Liu and Teacher Zhang, who are very familiar to everyone. Su Long started playing today, and I am very much looking forward to Su Long's performance. Yes, the combination of Su Long and Jing Ji. If you have watched the Premier League game recently, you probably know that this is the strongest combination of Manchester City's firepower. Now it's Lee Dong-kook of Hanjima who is catching the ball. The tactical lineup on the Hangzhou side is 3,331. The forward is Lee Dong-kook. Since Bonfry took over South Korea, Lee Dong-kook has become one of the strongest points of attack for the Korean team, and he has scored 8 goals for the national team coached by Bonfry before this game. We have to be careful of Lee Donghua. Oops, Lee Donghua was snatched by the retreating Su Long. It's a good ball. Su Long had a big foot directly into the penalty area. Xing Ji's header. Oops, almost. Look at the replay. Su Long retreated quickly. When Lee Donghua turned his back on Su Long, he didn't find Su Long at all, and when Su Long had come to him, he found Dot. Su Long's movements were clean. He touched the ball first, and then the long pass found Xing Ji in the penalty area very precisely, but unfortunately the final handling was a bit high. Slightly higher than the horizontal bar. Hangzhou's goalkeeper Li Yun is roaring at his side of the backline. You long dim sum, you almost scored just now. The three defenders are also helpless. Su Long gives too much pressure. Attention is on Su Long. Others will naturally leak sometimes. Central defender Park Jae-hong hurriedly said, we will pay attention to Smekta. 3 minutes later, however, Su Long made a comeback again. This is a long pass by Li Weifeng, and the Hangzhou defender opposite may be nervous. There is a misunderstanding error, and the ball reaches Su Long's feet. Wow, Hangzhou defender made a mistake. The ball reached Su Long's feet, and Su Long passed the Hangzhou defender and entered the penalty area. Single knife. Hangzhou goalkeeper Li Yun is attacking. Shoot. Entered, 1-0. Su Long faced Han Island goalkeeper Lee Yunzai and very calmly pushed the ball to the far corner, and Li Yun couldn't save it. In 10 minutes, Dragon Kingdom is ahead. The defender who made a mistake just now was Park Dong-ho, who seemed to be very frustrated. Yes, but there are a lot of our fans on the scene. I didn't expect it. The cheers are still very loud. At this time, the director's camera came directly to the stands, and a beautiful Hangzhou girl, holding up Su Long's billboards and posters, was cheering. Suloloba, too. The two commentators couldn't hold back. Ha, it turned out to be Su Long's fan group. Oh, that's football beyond borders. Yes, so many Hangzhou fans. Su Long is now an international star. In the first 30 minutes of the game, Hangzhou was completely pressed by Longhua, except for number 20 Lee Dong-kook in front. The other players focused almost all their energy on defense. The helpless thing is that even if they want to defend, it is still difficult, and the Dragon Kingdom side has taken the simplest method, that is, crossing. Su Long crossed and looked for the forbidden area. Xing Ji crossed the line and looked for the forbidden area. Xiao Jia crossed and looked for the restricted area. Anyway, whoever takes the ball to break through and cross, directly into the box bombing, is right. After Su Long scored the first goal, this game was also close to play, mainly for his teammates to find their status. Their own performance is not much, most of them are for Xiao Jiai, Xing Ji they make the ball. The main energy is focused on passing and defense. By 30 minutes, Su Long had blocked 3 defensive counterattacks from the Hangzhou team, completely stifling the offensive intentions of the Hangzhou team. The female fans on the sidelines were very happy to see Su Long on the field, while the Hangzhou fans who knew a little football felt very uncomfortable. The Hangzhou team can't go out at all. In turn, Dragon Country fans are very comfortable. When did the Dragon Nation team ever play such a rich war? It's all because of Su Long. Lee Donghua was in a hurry, and it was difficult to get the ball, but he was once again stopped by Su Long. According to the usual opponents in Asia, there is rarely one-to-one person who can stop themselves. And this young man in front of him, the core of his body is stronger than his own, the action on his hands and feet is never less, so that Lee Dong-wook kicks very uncomfortable, and he can't get up at all. As the number one killer of the Korean Island national team, it was so dumbfounded today. Damn, a C. In the 39th minute, Xiao Jia cheered up and rushed to Su Long. Su Long's cross helped Xiao Jia break the goal. Xiao Jia was so excited. I didn't expect to be able to score in such an important game. Xiao Jia's header is on goal. 2-0. Hando is at a complete disadvantage. Yes, it feels like Hando is completely suppressed, and Su Long's figure is all over the stadium, not like in the Premier League. Well, everyone can see that Su Long's position in the national team and in the Premier League has changed a little. When he was in the national team, he was more involved in defense, and his teammates did not disappoint him. After losing 2 goals, Hando tried to fight back, but was strangled by the midfielder led by Su Long. Su Long's main role today is to defend the above, so that the Hondao team cannot easily form a counterattack. After the break, it was clear that Hando had made adjustments and stepped up their attack. Hando replaced Lee Dong-kook in bad form, and Park Dong-ho, who made a mistake in the first half, replaced them with Cho Jae-kwon and Lee Cheon-so, who played in the Nichijima League and Europa League. The lineup became 4-3-3. Hanjima team's counterattack. Lee Tianxiu almost scored on the field, and the long-range shot was slightly offside. Liu Yunfei quickly kicked off, and a big foot went directly to the backcourt of the Hondao team. Our Dragon Kingdom strikes back. Su Long's header is at the top, directly into the forbidden area. Oh my god, Xiao Jia. Goal scored. The connection between Su Long and Xiao Jia. Su Long pushed the ball into the penalty area, and Xiao Jia's provocative shot was very calm, passing the attacking Han Island goalkeeper Lee Yunzai. 3-0. ASI. 3 live commentators from Hando TV are wailing. We originally thought that we and Dragon Kingdom could still fight, but now it seems that the gap in strength is a bit large, and this game is already very hanging. Yes, the Dragon Kingdom has Su Long's joining, and the strength should not be in Asia if it is completely upgraded. Well, I think only the European national team can fight with the current Dragon country. This is a non-war crime. Our Hondao team has worked very hard. Hey, it's normal for a strong team to beat a weak team. It's that Su Long is so disgusting. He won't give us the Hondao team at all. This is the oppressive power of Asia's #1 superstar. He is only 18 years old. One of the commentators said this, and everyone was quiet. Yes, Su Long is only 18 years old. How many years are there in his peak? 5 years, 10 years, or even 15 years? Doesn't it mean that Hando football will be overwhelmed by Dragon Kingdom football for so many years? Thinking about it, the 3 Korean island commentators feel difficult to breathe. The whistle at the end of the game blew, and the Dragon country coaching team, the team leader, and the players on the bench looked happy and satisfied. Although many players were not able to play, it was refreshing to see the score of 3-0. The faces of the Hondao players are very ugly. They lost 3-0 to Dragon country. This is 20 years, 30 years have not lost so badly. Defeated, many Hondao players are going to cry. They don't know how to go back and face the fans. At this time, the sidelines could also hear the Han Island girls shouting Su Long's name. The mentality of the Hondao players has collapsed. The Battle of China and South Korea, Dragon country staged a goal feast. Dragon Kingdom sent Han Island a long-lost fiasco. Dragon Kingdom beats Hando 3-0. Su Long makes a 26-year record 3-0. 26 years of unbeatable Korean record broken. The game has just ended. Sina Football, various sports platforms, sports media, have issued reports on the battle between China and South Korea. The whole country celebrates. When boys and girls watch TV, they just watch a hilarity and a handsome look. And in front of the TV to watch the war between China and South Korea, the old fans feel that their eyes are sour. How many years finally saw the day when the Dragon Kingdom defeated the Korean island one day? All along, Dragon country fans have more or less lamented that the professional football development of Hondao and Nichijima is better than that of Dragon country, and that Dragon country is even better than 2 projectile places. Today, Dragon country fans are finally exhaling and raising their eyebrows. Episode 124. The fastest goal in the Europa League. At the post-match press conference, Hondao head coach Bonfrey said that the Hondao fans on the scene, especially the female fans, did not support the home team at all, which was not seen at all in other countries, because the support of the home stadium was not enough, so today's team played not good enough to lose this game. Hando fans are furious, especially the female fans. Hando's network exploded directly. Your national team is not angry, but blame the fans, and do you have a face? What else are you playing? Let's disband in place. What a garbage national team, a waste of our taxpayers' money. We can't support you enough? See if there is such a professional football in the Dragon Kingdom that supports their own country. Hando Football Association resigns en masse. Then, the next day, Bonfrey apologized for the end of class. Su Long has completed another killing of the head coach. While both Hondao and Dragon Kingdom were arguing over the Sino-Korean War, Su Long had already boarded a plane and returned to Manchester, England. There are still many games to play. For Su Long, the battle between China and South Korea is a very meaningful friendly match. Yes, for Su Long, the difficulty of the Sino-Korean battle is relative to the friendly match between the Premier League teams. But this game is much more important than the significance of the friendly match. Su Dad also told Su Long, and Su Long knew that he had helped the Longwan national team break the dark cloud of 26 years of invincibility. If you win the first time now, you win the second time. The Dragon national team has not had such a serious psychological shadow since then. In the week since Sarong left Manchester City, City have not played in the Premier League, as the 28th round will not start until February 26th. There was only one Europa League match and one FA Cup match. In the Europa League match on February 18th, Manchester City played away to Bundesliga side Aachen, which is already an old rival for Su Long. Manchester City, due to the schedule, 697 players who sent reserve teams and youth teams 1-2-1. Su Long didn't even think of it. On February 19th, in the 5th round of the FA Cup, Manchester City sent the main squad to play Fulham at home and lost. After this win and loss, Manchester City continued to advance in the Europa League. And this season's FA Cup journey is over. Originally, Manchester City did not expect to have any achievements in the FA Cup, so it was nothing to lose. As for the Europa League, it was a bonus. 2 days after Su Long returned to Manchester, he played in the Premier League game, the Manchester City Derby, and the penalty for his red card was determined. Banned from 3 Premier League matches. That is to say, on February 26th, Manchester City played Norwich City away, Manchester City played Bolton at home on March 5th, and Manchester City played Tottenham Hotspur away on March 20th. Impulse is the devil, but give Su Long another chance, Su Long will still do that. If you don't show your toughness, you will only be bullied all the time. This is the conclusion reached by Su Long's memory fragments of such a many football careers. In addition, Su Long has the characteristics of Iron Man and hegemony, and has an advantage over all players, and is not afraid of injury or revenge. After this time, Su Long is equivalent to telling everyone who wants to move Su Long, first weigh whether it will be retaliated by Su Long. On February 25th, in the second match of the 5th round of the Europa League, Manchester City played Aachen at home. Aachen fans saw the camera in front of the TV to move to a young face, and they were not calm. Su Long. The Aachen fans certainly remembered Su Long's face. The fiasco given to Aachen last season is still fresh in the minds of Aachen fans. Now that they have seen Su Long at home at Manchester City, Aachen fans suddenly have a feeling of fear that pervades their hearts. The Aachen fans are right. This game, Aachen lost 4-0 to Manchester City, ending this Europa League trip. Manchester City are moving further towards the Europa League. Whoever is the opponent in the next round will have to wait for the draw a week later. The next day, City were going to Norwich again, but because Su Long was banned for 3 games, he directly rested at home. 3 races, spanning a month. Before the hand-to-hand combat at the end of the season, Su Long finally got enough rest time to eliminate the fatigue accumulated by most of the season and restore his vitality. On February 26th, in the 28th round of the Premier League, Manchester City played Norwich City away. Manchester City fell behind 0-2 without Sislam and then won 3-2. Su Long saw the tenacity shown by his teammates in this game. Fowler, in particular, was in a fit of strength in this match, scoring 2 goals and dreaming back to his peak. Su Long also hopes that Fowler can give a little strength, and in the next 2 games as well. Meanwhile, in the same round, Manchester United were forced to draw 1-1 at home by Portsmouth. Sure enough, after losing the derby, morale was affected, and 2 more generals were injured. But I can't be blamed for that. It's Keane who is going to make a plot first. On March 5th, in the 29th round of the Premier League, Manchester City played Bolton at home, 1-1 at home and continued unbeaten. Fowler scored another goal to rejuvenate the second spring. Su Long watched the game at the scene and was also interviewed. Su Long, do you have any thoughts on the punishment of the FA? Su Long would not be stupid enough to shell the FA and smiled and said, "You British journalists want to dig a pit for me all day. Your mind is not pure. I have no opinion. The FA has their considerations, I can understand." In the same round, Manchester United drew 0-0 away to Crystal Palace and Arsenal beat Portsmouth 3-0. Arsenal in second place started to pull away from third-placed Manchester City by 4 points, and third-placed Manchester City and Manchester United pulled away by 6 points. Manchester United were overtaken by Liverpool and dropped to 4th. Since this time, Manchester United fans have seen Manchester City fans and have a feeling of not being able to lift their heads. The next-door neighbor has changed so much in one season. Are Manchester United executives eating? Why didn't you buy Su Long in the first place? Buy what Rooney? How fanatical the fans were about Wayne Rooney's joining, how disgusted the fans are now. It's not that Rooney is bad, Rooney has scored goals in almost every game in recent games. But man is more than dead. Even though he was banned for 3 games, Su Long is still firmly at the top of the Premier League top scorer list, with 27 goals and 3 goals ahead of second-place Henry. March 11th is the first match of the 6th round of the Europa League. The opponent is the Donetsk Miners of the Ukrainian Premier League. Manchester City are heading to the Medalist Stadium in Kharkov, Ukraine. Shakhtar Donetsk is one of the most famous teams in the UWC Premier League, bringing together many international players from Eastern European countries. As a veteran of the Ukrainian Super League, it is also a regular in Europe, and Kidnemo Football Club is the two giants of the Ukrainian Super League. Since Sulong was banned in the Premier League, he took the reserve team and the youth team to play in the European League. Sitting on the team bus to the door of the Medalist Stadium, Sulong stepped down the bus and entered the stadium, not expecting that the blonde sisters on both sides of the separation belt were shouting their names. Sue, Sue, they are all young and beautiful Ukrainian sisters, really worthy of being a beautiful paradise. Sulong walked over to sign the blonde sisters. Where to sign? Here, here. The little sisters straightened their chests and made Sulong shudder. Don't do this. I can only say that the little sisters are too enthusiastic. Sulong chose a few less enthusiastic little sisters, they held posters or something, and Sulong signed his name on it. Then Sulong was also touched a few hard muscles, and the young ladies suddenly screamed. Sulong did not expect that he had so many female fans in Uzbekistan, and they were all blonde sisters in Uzbekistan, which was dazzling to see. The teammates who followed Sulong into the locker room had envy and hatred in their eyes. This game, CCVV5 is not live, but the network ESPN, the stationary has broadcasting. The network ESPN Chinese desk also invited professional commentators, Mr. Gui and Mr. Su. Welcome to ESPN's Europa League, a match between Donetsk Miners in the USWA Premier League against Manchester City in the Premier League. Today is finally waiting for Sulong to play. Sulong has been banned for 3 games in the Premier League, and it is not yet the day of lifting the ban, but there is no problem in participating in the Europa League. The atmosphere at the home of the Shakhtar Donetsk Miners is very strong. The ocean of oranges is all over the place. The starters from both sides have come on the pitch, and we can see Manchester City's number 9 player Sulong, and the striker with Sulong today is Donley, who has just been promoted from the U19 to the reserve team, a very young player at the age of 20. Of course, a genius like Sulong can't be compared. The game started, Manchester City's side of the ball, midfielder number 37 Willian with the ball, all pressed. This Willian, like Donley, came to see Manchester City's under-19 youth team, passed on to Tony. At the forefront of the exclusion zone, there were 3 defenders around and Donley couldn't move forward, so he turned around and passed the ball to the back of the box. Sulong suddenly plugged in. Header on goal. It's in. 1-minute goal. In the opening minute, Sulong got an assist from Donley and scored a goal to take the lead. The players of the Shakhtar Donetsk are confused. They don't seem to have woken up yet. How did they score? Let's look at the replay. The defenders on Sulong's side don't realize the seriousness of the matter. Sulong ran in reverse, got rid of him, and then attacked the goal with a very easy header. Too fast, too fast. No one could have imagined that Sulong would break the door so quickly. It was the fastest goal since this year's game. It can only be said that the Shakhtar Donetsk Miners were careless. Episode 125. Goal, Europa League champions. After scoring a goal in the opening minute, Sulong assisted his teammates in the 45 minutes of the first half. At halftime, a 3-0 lead by 3 goals basically determines the outcome of the game. In the end, the Donetsk Miners won a 1-4 defeat to Manchester City and won the away game, and on the following March 17th, it was Manchester City's turn to face the Donetsk Miners at home. An hour before the start of the match, the stadium was surrounded by fans in blue shirts. This season, Manchester City fans can proudly say that they are Manchester City fans, and now they are third in the table, and if they finish playing this Europa League, it is no accident that they will successfully advance to the quarterfinals. So today's Manchester City Stadium is so crowded that you can see a sea of blue and you can't see the fans of Shakhtar Donetsk at all. At the beginning of this game, the Donetsk Miners did not make the same mistakes as last time, and the defenders were very cautious in handling the ball, but there was too much difference in morale between the two sides, so Manchester City pressed the Donetsk Miners to play. Football games are to see the scene to play. Morale often represents strength. When morale is high, even League A teams can beat the Premier League team. Such a game, in each edition of the UEFA Cup and FA Cup will appeared. But today the Shakhtar Donetsk Miners are clearly demoralized. Manchester City, at home, is full of momentum. After 90 minutes, the Donetsk Miners managed to win a crushing defeat at Manchester City, ending his Europa League trip. Manchester City finished 2-0, 6-1 on aggregate, and successfully qualified for the quarterfinals of the Europa League. Sue, Sue, Sue. After the game, Manchester City fans shouted Sulong's name, and Sulong ran to the sideline, took off his shirt, and immediately triggered a scream and cheers. Sulong flipped through 3 fences in a row and gave the jersey in his hand to a child in the stands. Because Sulong saw this child shaking several times with a banner with his name on it. The child was so excited that he could not speak, his face was shocked, and his eyes were wide. It wasn't until Sulong entered the players' aisle that he reacted, "Oh my God. Oh my God. Sue gave me the jersey." The father next to him touched the child's head and said, "Foden, are you happy?" The child nodded violently and said, "Dad, I want to play football with Sue in the future." The father smiled and said, "Then you have to practice hard, join the Manchester City junior team first, Foden." A look of determination flashed in the child's eyes. Everyone at Manchester City didn't pay much attention to the Europa League, and now they have unknowingly reached the quarter-finals. Keegan thought about it carefully, as if he could expect a little thoughts. So the whole team met and temporarily focused the game on the Europa League. At noon on March 18th, the UEFA Cup quarter-finals and semi-final draws were held at UEFA headquarters in Nyon, Switzerland. Newcastle has drawn Sporting Lisbon, which is about to host the final, and is the strongest match in the quarter-finals. Manchester City's quarter-final opponent is La Liga powerhouse Villarreal, and the semi-final opponent is the winner between Newcastle and Lisbon Sporting. Sue Long assessed that he now had only 5 simulated opportunities. With 8 rounds left in the Premier League, Chelsea lead by 10 points, and it is almost impossible to win the Premier League. Not only do you need to have problems in the next 8 games, but you also need problems at Chelsea to complete the counter-over. Looking at Chelsea's imposing appearance this season, his double killing of Chelsea has not affected Chelsea's later games, so it can be seen that it is hoped that Chelsea will make mistakes in the next game, which is a few draws. These 5 simulations of my own, I am afraid that I cannot surpass Chelsea to get the first place in the league. If this is the case, it is better to fight for the Europa League title than to win the second place in the league, because now Manchester City have reached the quarter-finals of the Europa League. There are only 5 games left to win the Europa League. Relatively speaking, is it more likely to win the Europa League? When Sue Long thought about this, he already had a decision in his heart. On March 19th, Sarong was suspended for the last match and Manchester City played Tottenham Hotspur away. At this time, Sue Long had already returned to the Dragon Kingdom, because on March 26th and March 31st, there were 2 World Cup qualifiers. They are Dragon Country versus Ustragon Country versus Saudi Arabia. The venues of the matches are all the home stadiums of Dragon Country, the Worker Stadium in Tokyo. These are also the 2 games that Dragon Kingdom has been watching. As long as you win these 2 matches, the group stage of the quarter-finals is a 9-10 victory. Dragon Kingdom will also enter the World Cup finals once again after the 2002 World Cup. The next Premier League game is April 2nd, Manchester City's away game against Charlton. There is no conflict in time, so Sue Long will return to the Dragon Country first. Jingji also traveled with Sue Long, and Sun Jihai had already returned to the Dragon Kingdom to recuperate, and he heard that he could resume training in April. This is a quick recovery for a cruciate ligament tear. This also shows from the side that Sun Jihai's body is first class in Asia. Disembarking at Longwood Daijing Airport, Sue Long received the latest news from the Premier League. Manchester City drew 1-1 away to Tottenham. Wright scored a goal. It was okay. A 1-1 draw to score 1 point away from home, 62 minutes of the season, 7 points ahead of 4th-placed Manchester United. Now it seems that the top 4 positions are basically stable. Sue Long and Jingji immediately went to the national football training base. This is not the first time Sue Long has come, light and familiar with the road. This time, Sue Long came very early, and after coming to the national football training base, he first held a collective meeting to understand the spirit of the meeting. Sue Long also held a meeting before the game for the first time, because the time to come to the national football team before was more urgent, and by the time he returned to the team, the pre-match meeting had already been completed. This is a very new experience for Sue Long. How to say it, full of Dragon Country characteristics. After the conference, all the players have a small meeting with the coaching team, arrange the tactical position, specify the tactical plan, and then determine the player list the day before the game according to the performance of the training and warm-up matches. There are 2 warm-up matches, one against Iraq on the 21st and one against Oman on the 23rd. Both teams were eliminated in the second round of the group stage, so they had time to play warm-up matches in Shanghai. This is also the biggest opponent that the Dragon National Football Association can find. The warm-up game is mainly not to win, but to find the feeling of the game and get familiar with the cooperation between teammates. Sue Long is the core of the iron attack, but in the Dragon national team, it is still necessary to move the position backwards, relative to the position of the front waist, because Sue Long not only has to attack, but also cut off the attack of the opposite, too far ahead. And at the top is Jingji, so now the lineup of the Dragon Country team has become 451, and the Dragon Country team with Sue Long sitting on it has become a meat grinder in the midfield. On March 26th, at the home of Dragon Country, Tokyo Workers Stadium, the Dragon Country national team played against the Uzi national team. The game hadn't started yet, and the outside of the Workers Stadium was already crowded with Dragon Country fans. All the fans are waiting behind the isolation belt for the arrival of the Dragon national team bus. The sound is noisy, and there is a security officer every 20 meters to maintain order. When the UZ national team bus stopped at the East Gate, the UZ national team players saw the dense Dragon Country fans with no end in sight, and all they saw was a fiery red color. They had been doing psychological construction for a long time, but they suddenly collapsed. This home advantage is too great. When the UZ national team players stepped off the bus and entered the worker's body, the whole person was ignorant, and the words of the Dragon Chinese could not be heard in their minds. Shortly after the departure of the UZ national team bus, the overall Red Dragon national team bus arrived late and finally came to the East Gate. The bus didn't stop yet, and all the fans cheered. Su Long, Xiao Jiai, Li Weifeng, Xing Ji, Dragon Country fans, got off the bus one by one. The Su Long, the biggest coffee position, is naturally the last one to come out of the finale. The moment Su Long came out, the whole audience erupted in deafening shouts and screams. Su Long, I love you. Su Long smiled and waved to the fans on both sides. Suddenly I heard a familiar voice in the shout. Brother Su Long. Su Long took a closer look, and it turned out to be Ji Wenjun. Here you are. Su Long was a little surprised and walked up. Ji Wenjun nodded violently. The girls around them hurriedly reached out. Su Long smiled and said, wait a minute, one by one. Ji Wenjun nodded and said, well, it's Saturday, so there's time to see you. Oh, yes, Su Long remembered that it was Saturday. Su Long first signed Ji Wenjun's name, and then signed a few girls next to him. Then he waved to the fans behind him and said, I'm sorry. Thank you for your support, I went first. Wenjun, I went first. Well, brother Su Long, come on. Su Long nodded and hurried to keep up with his teammates. Li Qian, who came with Ji Wenjun, was full of light, and she also got Su Long's signature, shaking Ji Wenjun's hand violently and saying, Wenjun, do you know Su Long? Ji Wenjun pulled Li Qian away with a haha. So many girls around looked at themselves. The pressure was too great. Hurry up and slip people. For Su Long, seeing Ji Wenjun at the door is a small episode. The most important thing tonight, of course, is the game. Changing into the Dragon Kingdom shirt in the dressing room, Su Long already felt that the blood was burning. In the players' tunnel, the players on both sides looked at each other. The attention of the UZ national team players is on Su Long, because Su Long is the biggest player in tonight's game. The first to come out of the player channel is Captain Li Weifeng, and then Su Long is very fast, and the starters on both sides have already stood on the field. Hello everyone, this is CCVV5. Welcome to the second round of Group A of the 2006 FIFA World Cup Asian qualifiers. We are at home to the UZ national team. I am Huang Jianxiong. Next to me is teacher Lu Jianhong. Hello everyone, I'm Lu Jianhong. Today is me and teacher Huang Jianxiong to explain this game. The game is ready to start and our starters are, again, episode 126, the great defeat of Han Dao. Amid the commentary of CCVV5 and the shouts of the live fans, the game began. At the beginning of the game, the Dragon Kingdom side had not launched any attack, and saw that all of UZ shrank up, and even the only striker retreated to his side of the half to assist in the defense. Su Long was stunned for a moment, then smiled. Is this to use the 10-0-0 bus iron barrel array from the beginning? But is it useful? Su Long raised his hand and signaled, according to the original plan, to fight normally. Li Weifeng's long pass directly into the Wuzi penalty area. Xiao Jiai's battle for the top. Hey, big. Su Long's cross. It's Yuzi's penalty area again. Xing Ji's header, deflected, just a little bit. Dui's cross. Yuzi's header was cleared and Su Long grabbed the ball again. A foul on Yuzi's side, a free kick. Our Dragon Nation attack is very fierce, but Yuzi's resistance is also very tenacious. Come and see this free kick. Su Long's fake move. It was a free kick from Li Weifeng in the back. Su Long. Su Long suddenly stepped forward into the penalty area and scored with a header. Entered. In 10 minutes, Su Long scored the first goal in 10 minutes. Dragon Kingdom leads 1-0. This is the importance of Su Long, a hammer to the end. The Uzi players looked at the time, it was only 10 minutes, and it felt like they had been playing for a long time. Will this last until the end of 90 minutes? Uzi had originally planned to stick to it. Maybe there was a chance that he could draw 0-0. Their plan was that Su Long was not in good shape today. Maybe there would be a chance. I didn't expect 10 minutes of wild bombardment, and I blew the goal open. What to do in the remaining 80 minutes? The Uzi players have no bottom in their hearts. Or continue to keep guarding. What else can be done? This game is not going to be won. Just don't lose too much. That's the mindset of the Uzi players now. There is a guarantee of a goal ahead, and the Dragon Country players also let go to play, with visible progress, playing better and better. This is also what Su Long hopes. The national team can't rely on him alone. The other 10 people must also have a voice. In the 40th minute, Xiao Jiai broke through the box and was pushed down, receiving a penalty, and Xiao Jiai scored a penalty. 2-0. The Dragon Country fans cheered. Since Su Long entered the national team, every game has been a great harvest. In the first half of the extra time, Su Long's cross, Xing Ji's header hit the goal, and he scored again. 3-0, the fans of Long cheered wave after wave. In the 71st minute, Su Long was replaced and there was a warm applause from the audience. On the sidelines, Su Long and the substitute forward, Emperor Lee hugged for a moment, and then returned to the bench on the sidelines. Head coach In Tai also took the initiative to come up and pat Su Long's shoulder and said, after hard work, Su Long smiled and said, "It's okay, we played well today." In Tai nodded. He knew very well that it was the young man in front of him who brought all this to the national team. In the 79th minute, Li Yi, who came on as a substitute, also scored. 4-0, the whole audience sounded singing the motherland. A big win today. Dragon Country fans are so happy and have taken another step towards the World Cup finals. In the 89th minute, Uzi finally scored a consolation goal, just before the end. The end of the game was whistled. 4-1, the Dragon national team beat the UZ national team. Su Long took off his shirt and walked to the stand behind the bench, and the fans in the stands cheered, shouting Su Long, Su Long, won. Su Long took off his shirt, held it in his hand, waved at the fans in the stands, and shouted, "Catch." With that, he threw the ball into the fans. The fans, especially the female fans, screamed, and eventually a boy got his shirt. After the game, the little boy also introduced the CCVV5 interview with his father. "We were lucky enough to meet the lucky kid outside the stadium. Hello little friend, are you happy to get Su Long's jersey?" "Happy. Thank you brother Su Long for the jersey. Which footballer do you like the most?" "Sister, aren't you talking nonsense?" "Of course, I like brother Su Long, and I will become a player like brother Su Long in the future." "Oh, little friend, your dreams are good, come on." Just at the end of the Dragon Country match, the results of the other 3 matches also came out, and everyone was surprised. In addition to Dragon Country, the East Asian top 3 of Hajime, Hanjima, and Saimshima all lost the game. After the match, Saimshima believed that the referee on duty awarded the penalty unfairly and was ready to appeal to FIFA. The Nichishima FA put all the blame on coach Zico, saying that Zico's wrong tactics led to the loss of the game, and if Hajime lost again in the next game against Bahrain, Zico would lose his position as national team manager. And Hando also threw all the pot to Hanjima's new head coach Dika. Dwarkart, who has just taken office, is already in jeopardy. Su Long shook his head when he saw the report, and sure enough, no matter which national team or which team, the first pot man will always be the head coach. Hando and Dragon Country are in the same group, losing Dragon Country first, then losing to Saudi Arabia. And now the record is 0 wins, 0 draws and 2 losses, ranking at the bottom of the group stage. It seems that the last World Cup final 4 teams were dangerous. Su Long did a little calculation. There are 5 games in the group stage, and it has already been played 2 games. Hando is 4th place with 0 points, and 4 points away from 2nd place Saudi Arabia. In the next 3 games, Hondao wants to overtake Saudi Arabia, which requires Hondao to win 2 more games than Saudi Arabia. This is only theoretically the case. Su Long estimated that many eyes around the world were on the Hondao team. After all, in the 2002 World Cup, Hondao team offended many countries: Portugal, Italy, Spain. People see Luo is very disgusted with Hondao because of this matter. As long as it is in the game of Hondao, do not play without interviewing, cancel the autograph party, the whole blackface. Su Long opened the sports website on the European side, and sure enough, the media of Portugal, Italy, and Spain were the 3 countries, and the reporters were writing articles to ridicule Hondao. Thief Hando team, 2 losses difficult to qualify. Black World Cup Final 4, the death of Hanjima. Black Whistle Korean Island retribution, 2006 World Cup difficult to qualify. If I'm not mistaken, Hondao should have appeared, but because of his own appearance, he kicked Hondao down while lifting Dragon Kingdom up. That can only mean that your luck is a little bad on the Hondao team. If you really can't qualify, it's a big defeat that Hondao has never seen before. Before the afternoon training, the coaching staff and all the players watched the video of yesterday's Saudi match against Han Island. After watching the game video, everyone's face was a little strange. Head coach In Tai clapped his hands and said, after reading it, "What do you think? Players, you look at me, I look at you, and finally all look at Su Long." Su Long coughed and said, "Oh, Saudi Arabia copied our way of playing. Isn't that our tactic against South Korea? The cross to find the forbidden area, the long pass to find the forbidden area, anyway, is the forbidden area of the high-altitude bombing of Hondao. Hando's backline is clearly problematic. It's just that Dragon Kingdom relies on Su Long's strong personal ability to collude with the whole team, while Saudi Arabia uses the overall tough play style to win Hondao in hand-to-hand combat. At first glance, it is known that on February 9th, after the defeat of Hondao, Saudi Arabia specially studied it. It's a lot of work, and there doesn't seem to be much preparation on the Korean island side. Oh, yes, Hando has changed coaches here. Then there is no preparation in this aspect of the tactical level, and it is also a yin and yang error. In this way, the next battle against Saudi Arabia on March 31st, the Dragon Kingdom will have to confront Saudi Arabia. Everyone laughed when they heard Su Long's words. and the atmosphere that was still a little tense also dissipated a lot. Tai nodded and said, "Yes, Saudi Arabia's tactics are obviously borrowed from our tactics of playing Handao, and it can be seen that the playing style of Saudi players is very suitable for such tactics, and it is likely that in the next game, the game will still be the same tactics. What do you think?" Everyone looked at Su Long again. Su Long sighed and said, "Then we can still play today," directly strangling Saudi Arabia in midfield, and not allowing Saudi Arabia the opportunity to organize an attack. Our defensive speed, as well as the quality of our defense, is actually better than Handao. The backline, led by our captain, can play in the Europa League, which is completely worthy of Saudi Arabia. At this time, it is time to give your teammates more confidence. Su Long said this. The defenders, the back suddenly looked at Su Long with glowing eyes, and they could see that Su Long's words made them secretly happy in their hearts. Tai saw Su Long's words and made the players confident, and his heart was also secretly agreed. An 18-year-old coaxed a group of 23, 24, 25-year-old youth into this look, and only Su Long was there. Tai took Su Long's words and said, "In addition, our coaching staff watched an all-night video last night and found that Saudi Arabia has changed its delicate and soft style from the first minute of the game, and carried out a large-scale, mad dog rush against the Handao team in the whole field, and the Handao people were completely passive. We need to do the training and training matches related to the anti-pressing of the response. The 4.0 opponent in training is the Iraqi national team. For some reason, Dragon gave little to the Iraqi national team, and being a sparring opponent during this time was a very valuable deal. Su Longdu feels that the national team has made a lot of progress in these 5 days of training, no matter which aspect." March 31st, although it was a Thursday, was already crowded before 6 o'clock on the workers' side. Many people wore light coats, revealing the red Dragon Kingdom jersey inside. They are all fans who have come to see the Dragon Kingdom against Saudi Arabia. Many people did not go into the stadium, but on the outside of the stadium, just to see the national team up close. A row of separation belts was built around the main road, and a red bus drove over and stopped at the east gate of the workers' stadium. The Dragon Country players all got off the bus, and there was a roar of cheers around them. Su Long and the others waved to the fans and walked into the stadium. An hour before the game, CCTV5, a sports station around the world, had already started broadcasting live. The reporter at the scene pointed to the camera. "As you can see, the Saudi national team players have come to the workers' stadium before, and now, the players of our national team have also arrived." An hour later, here, the Dragon Kingdom vs Saudi Arabia match will begin. Episode 127, Europa League 1/4 finals, exploded. In the away locker room, Jabbar, a Saudi superstar, as the elder of Saudi football, has always been the soul and leader of the Saudi national team. The most glorious record of Jabbar's football career is undoubtedly related to the World Cup. In 1994, Saudi Arabia broke into the World Cup in the United States, and the 22-year-old Jabbar scored a goal against Morocco. 4 years later, at the World Cup in France, Jabbar scored again in a match against South Africa, becoming the first player in Asia to score in 2 consecutive World Cups. In the 2002 World Cup between Korea and Japan, although Jabbar failed to achieve, in the qualifiers of this World Cup, Jabbar broke out again, scoring a winning goal in the last game against Hanjima team. The old and strong performance has made Jabbar the soul of the team again. There is nothing to be afraid of in the Dragon Nation players, they are all pure lambs. We want to be hungry wolves, tear apart the camouflage of the Dragon Kingdom, and this game will be our Saudi famous battle. Su Long is very good in the Premier League. What can we do? 2 of us pack clips, 2 can't do it, then 3. In the last game, we used our toughness to defeat Handao in the Final 4 of the last World Cup, and in this game, we can also use our toughness to defeat Dragon Country. We in Saudi Arabia will win. Jabbar held out his hand, and all the Saudi players followed suit, placing them. Victory! Saudi Arabia must win. After boosting morale, the Saudi players walked out of the dressing room with great momentum. An hour later, deafening cheers erupted from the workers' stadium on the 13th stadium, and the Saudi players looked overwhelmed. Su Long shouted and ran for half a time, being chased by his teammates and directly pressed to the ground. The on-site commentary, Huang Jianxiang and Lu Jianhong, were so excited. In first half stoppage time, Su Long scored another goal. 2-0, the first half was over, and Dragon Kingdom led 2-0. I have to say that Saudi Arabia has caused us a lot of trouble, but fortunately, so many opportunities, they have not taken advantage of. Number 9 Jabbar strained his muscles, made several substitution gestures, and the Saudi head coach did not make a substitution. The referee blew the whistle at the end of the first half of the game. We Dragon Kingdom are 2-0 for the time being. In the away locker room, the Saudi crowd will be completely silent. In the first half, the tough attack they imagined against the Dragon Country players did not happen, but they frequently made mistakes in the midfield under the pressure of the Dragon Country. The first goal was when defender Due gave Longwa a penalty after a mistake by fouling Xiao Jia in the penalty area. After falling behind by 1 goal, the Saudi side began to worry, and as a result, after several counterattacks by the Dragon Kingdom, although the Dragon country did not score, the Saudi side was instigated. Moreover, Su Long personally locked up the big brother Jabbar in Saudi Arabia, and scored a goal himself, which completely closed Jabbar to himself. In the end, the manager fed the players a full meal of chicken soup, and seeing that they were still a little distracted, they knew that this chicken soup did not work. In the second half, Saudi Arabia still did not turn up any waves, but scored a goal in 80 minutes to save a little face. In the end, Dragon Kingdom ended the 2 qualifiers of the week with 2-1, with 3 wins, 0 draws and 0 losses, scoring 9 points, ranking first in Group A. After the race, Su Long stayed at the hotel for one night because he needed to fly to the port the next morning and then fly directly from the port to Manchester. When he was in the hotel, Su Long suddenly remembered why he didn't buy a suite in the imperial capital, and then he would return to China, and it would be much more convenient for his parents to return to China. And now that the house price in the imperial capital is so low, it is good to make an investment. Just when Su Long was thinking about buying a house, the prompt of the system suddenly appeared in his mind. Money Warrior feature. Players with this trait will refresh the Speed quest once a month, meet the spending conditions, and will get a temporary random feature in the next game. April 2005 mission. €1 million per purchase by May 1st. Yes, it will be automatically prompted, but there is no time to see the house now. This temporary feature, Su Long is also very curious. But the next game is the ordinary Premier League, Manchester City away to Charlton. Su Long feels that using this Money Warrior is a waste. Every time €1 million are consumed, the opportunity to use it once, with Su Long's current financial resources, still needs to be used on the blade. Su Long thought about it. In the recent competition, except for the semi-finals of the Europa League, the final of the situation, other situations are estimated to be unnecessary. Unless Manchester United or Liverpool are at the top and have already caught up with the score, then Su Long can also try it. But now it seems that United's morale will be difficult to recover in a short period of time. As for Liverpool, his goal is in the Champions League, and his mind is not on the Premier League. Due to weather conditions, the plane from Hong Kong to Manchester City was delayed, resulting in Su Long not being able to return to Manchester City as scheduled, and naturally there was no way to participate in Manchester City's away matches. Su Long called the head coach Keegan, and Keegan asked Su Long to come back as soon as possible. And now Manchester City is still sitting third. Maybe after 8 rounds of games, it is the third. Because Manchester City's opponents in the next 8 rounds have neither championship opponents nor relegation opponents, the difficulty is relatively easy. In the late stage of the Premier League, 2 opponents are the most terrible. One is to fight for the championship, and the other is relegation. Especially relegation, don't look at the tail of the crane, often in the last few rounds will erupt with unimaginable lethality. Every year in the second rounds of the Premier League, there are always giants who are forced to draw or overturn by relegation teams. By the time Su Long returned to his home in Manchester, his teammates were already playing in London's Valley Stadium. Su Dad and Su Long watched TV together. Su Ma was cooking, and Chloe was sleeping. As Chloe's belly grew, her prep courses stopped and she waited until after giving birth. Women are like this, no way. The impact of production on school and career is indeed quite large. 0-1, Manchester City are behind. Well, Manchester City without Sauron is a bit weak. Above the bench I saw Sun Jihai also wearing a jersey. Su Dad asked Su Long curiously, is Sun Jihai's feet alright? Brother Sun said that he was so good, he was already training with the team, and it was estimated that he would be able to play in mid-April. Su Dad nodded and said, that's fine. In the second half, Manchester City suddenly broke out. Fowler scored a goal, tied Fowler after recovering from injury. It took 2 months. Fortunately adjusted back to this is also related to Su Long's suspension and going to play the national team. If it weren't for Su Long's absence from so many games because of the suspension and going to play the national team, Fowler certainly wouldn't have had so much playing time. Then it is really difficult to return to the current state. The competition between professional players is such a cruelty. This is still a team like Manchester City that lacks major generals, money, and people. There will be such competition. Not to mention Manchester United and Real Madrid, Barca giants. There are at least 5 or more people above the striker position. Once you are injured, you may not have your place in the future. Mr. Golden Ball, who is as strong as Kaka, still has the same end. With 31 rounds of Premier League games over, Manchester City scored 63 points, surpassing Arsenal and coming to second in the table. The gossip that Keegan's departure came out at the beginning of the season has now been confirmed to be fake news. Keegan has spent tens of millions of dollars before, bought Fowler, bought Anelka, bought McManaman, all veterans. Last year can be said to be the most arrogant team in the Premier League. The result is not Harry. If it weren't for the gamble on Su Long this year, Keegan might have already left. Keegan is now also very satisfied with his vision, especially to be able to hold Ferguson's Manchester United underneath, and Keegan has a joy of revenge in his heart. The feud between Ferguson and Keegan, which can be written as a novel, is ominous here. On April 8, Manchester City travelled to Villarreal in the province of Castellón in the Valencian community of Spain for the first match of the quarter-finals of the Europa League, away to Villarreal. When Soulong came to Villarreal with the team, he was a little surprised. The city is very small. It doesn't look like it's as big as a district of the Dragon Kingdom, and there are low buildings everywhere, which look very historical. Feeling like a rural town by the sea? After Soulong inquired, he found that it was really just a small town. The permanent population of the city of Villarreal is only 490 and 50,000 people. Nîmes, a town of 50,000 people, is now fourth in La Liga, reaching the quarter-finals of the League Cup. It can only be said that European football has refreshed Soulong's worldview again and again. The venue of the game, the Love Song Stadium, was built in 2000. In the away locker room, Soulong can also smell the faint taste of the sea. Since it was a week in a row, Manchester City still made a certain degree of rotation in the squad. The line of defenders who started on April 2 was changed by half, and the midfield was basically changed. And on the 3rd, Soulong, who did not play, made his debut today. It wasn't Fowler who was partnered with Soulong, but Jordan. Now it's basically Fowler playing leagues and Jordan playing cups. Bradley, who performed worse, could only be a substitute. The game begins, and the Love Song Stadium is fully packed. It was Villarreal's first time in the Europa League and also reached the quarter-finals, with all Villarreal fans coming to the home stadium today to cheer for Villarreal. It's just that the 20,000-person stadium is far less intense than the British atmosphere, and for Manchester City's players, the pressure is not great, but it feels a little relaxed. But perhaps it was because City was too relaxed, with Villarreal leading the way in the opening 5 minutes. Riquelme's pass tore through the home defense, and midfielder Cazorla single-handedly dangled goalkeeper David James to knock the ball into the empty net. Keegan on the sidelines frowned. Riquelme, Villarreal's ace star. Today's defense was so loose that Riquelme ran and scored a goal, and now it's very bad. City stepped up their attack after falling behind by 1 goal, but still failed to break Villarreal's goal. Instead, before the end of the first half, it was another defensive counterattack by Villarreal. Striker Jose Mali was pushed down by Manchester City's number 37 Willian in the penalty area and won a penalty. Keegan on the sidelines covered his face, and rookie midfielder number 37 Willian had previously played well at home to Donetsk and exploded in this game. Episode 128. The Great Strike Back. Last-minute victory. David James couldn't stop the penalty this time. 0-2. It's a score trail that City has rarely seen this season. At halftime, Keegan began to scold in the locker room, and the players shrank their necks and did not be scolded for a long time. The players instantly felt a lot more awake. In the second half, Villarreal was still indulging in the joy of 2-0, but did not notice that things were starting to change. 5 minutes into the second half, Wright's cross went straight to Soulong in the penalty area, who ran away from the defender and jumped high, and a header smashed the ball into the far corner. It's in. Soulong entered. In the opening 5 minutes, Soulong scored a goal for Manchester City, 1-2. It's a very important goal. It's a morale boost. Yes, from the second half onwards, it was clear that the atmosphere at Manchester City was different. I don't know what happened to them in the dressing room, but it can be seen that it worked very well. The faces of the Villarreal players changed slightly, and no one expected the disillusionment of their dreams to be so fast. It was 2-0 a minute ago, and is now on the verge of being flattened. The panic of the Villarreal players did not have time to adjust, and they were always pressed by Manchester City's fierce attack, and after 10 minutes, Villarreal's goal was once again broken by Manchester City. Soulong received a cross from Wright at the back of the penalty area, attracted the goalkeeper, and after a kick crossed into the middle of the box, Fowler shot the empty goal and scored. The audience was suddenly silent, followed by boos and curses. The 2-goal advantage that Villarreal had accumulated in 45 minutes was missing in the 15 minutes of the second half. 2-2 draw. This sudden blow made the Villarreal players panic, but by this time it had reached the edge of the cliff and had also inspired the bloodiness of the Villarreal players. Beep. Soon, Wright's breakthrough on the flank was directly fouled by tactics. Wright was injured and went straight off the court to replace veteran McManaman. Because Wright was injured, Soulong came to take the shot. The ball fell directly into the crowd in the penalty area. Suddenly, the people in the box were in a mess. First, Fowler's pitch smashed into the back of the opposing defender's back and bounced out, and then McManaman's shot was popped up again. Finally, a powerful kick from Captain Dunn that luckily hit the knee of the defender, and after a refraction, it hit the fans. 3-2. Villarreal's players covered their heads. Desperately, I was flipped 2-0 in the second half. This is a very big blow to Villarreal. Oh my god, Manchester City trailed 2-0 and chased 3 goals in 35 minutes in the second half to complete the counter-over. All 3 balls are related to Soulong. Soulong was the first contributor to the goal. Now there are 10 minutes left before the end of the game and there are not many opportunities for Villarreal. As the commentary says, 10 minutes of time did not give Villarreal any chance. Seeing that Villarreal first led and then was overtaken, the fans could not accept it and wiped their tears and left. It was their first Europa League trip, and while it was a great one, now in the first game of the quarter-finals, the home game has dealt them a hard blow. Many fans feel that Villarreal's Europa League trip is here. The end of the game was whistled, Manchester City's players cheered, while the Villarreal players were lonely. After the game, Su Long was interviewed by ESPN reporters. "Well, maybe it was because of the away game, we played loose in the first half, but with the help of Coach Keegan, we quickly adjusted and our teammates played very well. And in the second half it was a break for our Manchester City. Next round, welcome Villarreal to the Stade de Mancy, and we will meet with respect." After the interview, the senior management of Villarreal actually inquired about what Keegan's help was. When Villarreal's top brass heard of Keegan's roar in the locker room, they were muttering, "Do you have to change a more grumpy manager next season?" Before leaving, many of their teammates bought the most famous specialty of Castile, where Villarreal is located, ceramics, and brought them back to Manchester as souvenirs. Dunn asked Su Long strangely, "Su, don't you buy a few sets of ceramics to go back? This is the most famous local specialty, and it is quite beautiful." Su Long shook his head and said, "No, our Dragon Kingdom is a specialty ceramic." The surrounding teammates immediately choked. Yes, China, China. The English translation of the name of the Dragon Kingdom China originally means ceramics. Su Long smiled and said, "When the holiday is in June, I invite you to come to the Dragon Kingdom to play. How about it?" "Really? Really?" Originally, it would not cost too much money to invite them to the Dragon Kingdom, which was also to promote feelings. "Then can my girlfriend go?" "No problem, bring your family. I will take you to eat the best and most authentic Langwa cuisine." Well, that's a word. Manchester City's 3-2 away win over Villarreal was praised by the media and fans after the game. If you win the away match, you can only reach the semi-finals of the Europa League at home with a draw. Manchester City fans are full of joy. The quarter's 42% has come to 90% now, more than doubling the number. It can be said that Keegan is now very stable, but fans across the UK don't care much about City's Europa League results, because the focus of all British fans is on the Champions League. In the first round of the quarter-finals, the two giants of the Premier League, Liverpool and Chelsea, both won at home. Liverpool 2-1 Juventus, Chelsea 4-2 Bayern Munich, respectively, suppressed the second place in Serie A and the first place in the Bundesliga. Whether they can reach the semi-finals depends on the game of the 13th and 14th. All the sports press is talking about the feast of the Champions League, and there is not much coverage of Manchester City. Su Long couldn't help but think as he looked at the report, from the current situation, Manchester City is basically sure of the top four, and he will also play in the Champions League next season. On April 11th, in the 32nd round of the Premier League, Manchester City played Liverpool at home. According to the reason, Liverpool will go to Italy to play Juventus away on the 13th. So it is unlikely that Liverpool will be the starter in this game. But in this game, only 1/3 of Liverpool's main players did not start. Replacing striker Barros as the striker is Morientes, who did not qualify for Europe. Pellegrino, also unqualified for the Champions League, was able to replace Hyypiä as a starter. Traore's left-back position was also handed over to youngster Warnock. Other players are not much different from the Champions League squad. While there is not much difference between manpower and tactics and the Champions League squad, Liverpool are clearly not in the form of the Champions League 5 days ago. And with the Champions League game still in 2 days, the mentality of the Liverpool players has also changed. Of course, City's mind is not here either, as they also have a Europa League match on April 15th. Even Su Long's state is not good, mainly because the games played this season are far more intensive than last season, and Su Long's physical fitness cannot be adjusted for a while. As a result, the two teams played you and me back and forth throughout the 90-minute game. The scene was so sleepy, Su Long's 5 shots on goal did not gain anything. Manchester City and Liverpool have had several chances today, but none of them have been able to take advantage of them. Yes, maybe it's because the game is too intense, and Su Long is not in good shape today. At the end of the season, Su Long seems to have encountered physical problems. It's a bit of a concern. 90 minutes, 3 minutes extra time. Today both teams are in general shape, looking forward to Manchester City in the Europa League, Liverpool in the Champions League. The next game has a good play. Wright's breakthrough brought the ball out of bounds himself. Liverpool serve here. My God, the ball was dropped at Su Long's feet. Su Long's cross, Xingji's header attack. Oh my God, this is a huge mistake. Liverpool gave their victory to their opponents in the last minute. Xingji scored his first goal at Manchester City. Xingji was ecstatic and rushed to Su Long, hugging his compatriots tightly. He never imagined that he would kill Liverpool. Xingji. It's a magical player from Dragon Kingdom again. He was the one who did the best today, not only disrupting a couple of Liverpool attacks, but also scoring crucial goals. It wasn't until the last minute of extra time that there was a mistake on Liverpool's side of the ball out of bounds, and that mistake was fatal. The Liverpool players are also frustrated. The defeat in this game has caused the gap between Liverpool and Everton to reopen to 4 points, and unless Liverpool finally upset and win the Champions League, there will be no guarantee that the team will continue to appear in the Champions League next season. It's a real disaster for Liverpool. In the locker room after the game, Keegan greatly appreciated Jingji's performance today. Sure enough, the Dragon Country people are their own lucky stars. I love Dragon Country. The next day, United met fierce resistance against Novik, who were in the bottom of the road, and eventually lost 2-0. That's the horror of a relegated team, you don't know when he's going to break out. Manchester United's rush to the Road has once again been severely hit, and Manchester City are already in second place in the table. There are still 6 points left for Chelsea, and to catch up with 6 points in the next 6 games, it depends on Chelsea's face. But by this time, it was already 10 minutes away from Manchester United. The last time I had a similar experience, I went back 30 years, when there was no Premier League. Manchester City fans are full of happiness and joy, ushered in the second game of the Europa League quarter-finals. Manchester City host Villarreal, episode 129. Pressure Manchester United, Europa League semi-finals. The day before Manchester City played Villarreal at home, Su Long received a call from Su Gao. After a few words of greeting, the two men entered the main topic. Su Long, it's like this, CCVV5 football in the world, have you heard of it? Seems a bit impressive. Listen to Su Gao. World Football is CCVV5's column, focusing on the latest events and news in international football. CCVV5 wants to invite Su Long to participate in the program, mainly interviewing Su Long's journey along the way, and telling about German and British football and Dragon football. When Su Long heard Su Gao's words, he said, "Forget it, brother Su, I heard you say that I have a big head, I can play football, but the interview is over. Is that so? Well, I'll talk to the person in charge over there." Soon, Su Gao called again, and the World Football side wanted to do an absolute superstar program, specifically to introduce Su Long's road to fame, hoping to get Su Long's authorization. Su Long thought for a moment and said, "Oh, wait until this season is over." In this way, Tianxia Football tentatively plans to give Su Long an absolute superstar program after the end of the season. Although Su Long is only a fledgling, for the Dragon Kingdom, Su Long is already an absolute superstar. The Dragon Kingdom also needs Su Long, a flag bearer. Manchester City host Villarreal on April 15th. The Manchester City Stadium is full of people, and the Manchester City fans who can buy tickets will not let go of the legendary road of Manchester City this season. Manchester City, who were still 16th last season and almost relegated, have reached second place this season and have reached the quarter-finals of the Europa League, making countless Manchester City fans who were angry before the season and did not buy season tickets regret their death. Now, even if it is not a season ticket, even if the price of the ticket is doubled, they are willing to buy 407, while scolding Manchester City executives as vampires, while buying tickets happily. They don't buy it, some others buy it. Many fans who can't buy tickets are waiting for the game to start in front of the big screens in bars, clear bars, and even squares. Hello everyone, welcome to Sky Sports, now in the second game of the Europa League quarter-finals. I can see the starters for Manchester City and Villarreal are already on the pitch. Jingji, who performed well in the last Premier League, continued to start this game, and the position was raised, and Su Long formed a forward combination. This is a historic moment for the Premier League. The starting double forward, all of them are Dragon Country players. It can be seen that Keegan trusts the Dragon Country players very much. The game started, Villarreal served, they were very active today and pressed forward as soon as they started. Riquelme dribbled the ball, Shurin defended very firmly, and Riquelme could only pass back to Cazorla at the back. Cazorla's cross. Look for Jose Mari in the box, but the ball was cleared by Manchester City captain Dunn. The ball was snatched down by Su Long, a direct pass that tore straight through Villarreal's defense. In front of it is Jingji. Jingji's dribbling, the opposing defender returned quickly, and Jingji passed to Wright who was plugged in. Wright's cross. The goalkeeper strikes, hits the ball out, and breaks the line. City's first defensive counterattack was quite threatening. As the commentary says, City's defensive counterattack made Villarreal's attack tied up and did not dare to press the whole army. Moreover, Su Long and Jingji often retreated, destroying each other's organizational rhythm and making each other very uncomfortable. Until halftime, Villarreal only got one chance to shoot on goal, right in the arms of David James. Due to the large amount of energy focused on defense, Su Long did not have much sound on the offensive end in the first half. In the 75th minute of the second half, Villarreal's attacking core midfielder Riquelme was once again surrounded by three. By this time he was already breathless. The ball was cut off by Su Long again, and Su Long immediately launched a counterattack. Su Long's long pass, right on the left, Jingji in the middle of the road ran up. Villarreal's players were defending back, but Wright and Jingji were too fast. Wright got the ball on the side, and passed to Jingji in the middle of the road for the first time after adjustment. Jingji's header is on goal, thrown out by the goalkeeper, Su Long. It's Su Long's reshot again, haunted. The attention of Villarreal's defenders was all on Wright and Jingji, and at this time, the most dangerous killer appeared. 1-0. The score is 4-2 on aggregate. Now Villarreal has been cornered. The Villarreal fans in front of the TV turned off the TV and couldn't bear to continue watching. With 2 points behind on aggregate and a big trail in away goals, Villarreal will have to score 3 goals to qualify for the next Europa League. In this case, Villarreal can only make a bet. Defender Segan was replaced by midfielder Marco Senna, expecting to blast wildly in the next 15 minutes to score 3 autumns and complete a stunning reversal. Keegan saw that Villarreal had been replaced, and he wanted to change him, but he didn't know whether he should change people. Villarreal made a comeback in the 79th minute, and sure enough, Riquelme completed the redemption, scoring a goal from a distance. 1-1, 3-4 on aggregate. Villarreal is only 1 goal behind. But in the 82nd minute, Villarreal's wild bombardment was suddenly interrupted, and Soulang's another steal was successful, immediately passing to Xingji. Xingji immediately kicked at the rear of Villarreal. The ball was a bit big, but the flank was fast and Mallet ran fast, throwing away the opposing defender at once, and the reception was successful. Wright plunged straight into the box and shot from a tight angle. The ball went through the middle of the goalkeeper's hands and slammed into the goal. 2-1. Wright killed the game again. Wright has a sliding shovel dedicated to the fans in the stands. Above the stands, a blue ocean was singing the song of the fast horse. Wright's goal completely extinguished Villarreal's flames. 10 minutes later, the end of the game whistled. Congratulations to Manchester City for winning 2-1 at home, 5-3 on aggregate, for advancing to the semi-finals of the Europa League. Manchester City is making history. There are still 3 games left to get a Europa League trophy. Now Manchester City have become the first favourites in the Europa League. Who would have thought of this at the beginning of the season? If Manchester City can get the trophy, it will make its own history. Let's wait and see what happens next. The game was over, and the fans were still singing, celebrating the team's promotion to the semi-finals. Soulang took off his shirt and threw it directly into the stands. The fans burst into cheers. How happy Manchester City's fans are, how desperate Manchester United fans are. On April 21st, United lost 1-0 to Everton away from home to Everton, dropping straight out of the top 5 and falling to 6th. Although United won the home game on April 24th and returned to 4th, they were only 1 point away from 5th-placed Everton and 3 points away from 6th-placed Liverpool. There are still 4 games left, and the United fans are a little desperate. Manchester City fans, on the other hand, are happier. On April 18th, in the 33rd round of the Premier League, Manchester City drew 1-1 away to 16th-placed Fulham. Although Fulham are 16th, they are basically out of the relegation crisis, so they are not so hard, and Manchester City have also scored a point. On April 21st, in the 34th round, Manchester City beat Birmingham 3-0 at home, and Soulang scored twice in this game, reaching 30 league goals this season and continuing to lead the top scorers. April 23rd, 35th round, Manchester City 0-0 away. Although in these 3 games, Manchester City has only achieved a record of 2 draws and 1 win, but Manchester City fans are happy. Even if Manchester City is once again overtaken by Arsenal, Manchester City is still in 3rd place, with a full 9 points ahead of Manchester United. It can be said that Manchester United are only left with a theoretical chance to surpass Manchester City. If Manchester United is not careful with the next game, it will be overtaken by Everton. When the time comes to not enter the top 4, then this season is the 4 empty, next season to play in the Europa League. Manchester City fans say the despair of Manchester United fans is their own happiness. The lead in the standings, in the eyes of Manchester City fans, is not as important as holding down Manchester United next door, unless they can win the championship, but Chelsea is so far ahead. Manchester City fans are more rational and have no dreams. Now that we are nearing the end of the season, the British sports press, in addition to cursing UEFA's shady screen, is discussing that Chelsea is likely to break records this season. The UEFA shady curtain that fans are cursing is that UEFA has done something in the dark, bringing together 2 Premier League teams that have reached the semi-finals, Chelsea and Liverpool. The semi-finals of this year's Champions League are AC Milan against PSV Eindhoven and Chelsea against Liverpool. British fans are saying that if it is not a black curtain, not a black box operation, then the Champions League final will definitely be 2 Premier League teams. As for the record-breaking, it is now the 35th round, with Chelsea winning 27, drawing 6 and losing 2, for a total of 87 points. As long as in the last 3 rounds of the Premier League, Chelsea only win 1, or draw 3, will break the Premier League record and score 90 points. It was the first time in Premier League history that it had a 90 points. Therefore, Manchester City fans will not have any dreams, and at this time they are still thinking about overtaking Chelsea, which is impossible. Soulang also felt that his decision last month was very wise, not using football simulations in the Premier League. Now with 5,000+ points, it can be simulated 5 times, enough for the remaining 3 Europa League matches. In his first season in the Premier League, he won a European Championship, which is what Su Long is aiming for this season. That's also City's goal this season. After the end of the Premier League match on the 23rd, Manchester City began to prepare for the semi-finals of the Europa League. The semi-final opponent was Sporting Lisbon against Newcastle. Su Long decided to simulate a football career to see how it looked like in this round of semi-finals. Do you use the football career simulator? Use once to consume 1,000 achievement points. Yes. In 2005, when you were 19 years old, you got the weight of the manager, and at the end of the season, you scored 31 goals and won the Premier League Golden Boot. Episode 130 simulates the great change of career. Reverse the fiasco. In 2005, when you were 19 years old, you got the weight of the head coach, and at the end of the season, you scored 31 goals in the league and won the Premier League Golden Boot. In the summer, you turned down 60 million VIP transfer invitations from giants such as Bayern, Barca, and Real Madrid. In 2006, when you were 20 years old, you scored only 9 goals at the end of the season due to a team shock. In the summer, you accepted Bayern's 20 million British Mirror offer, transferred to Bayern. After watching this football career, Su Long couldn't stop it. After playing this season, there are Bayern, Barca, and Real Madrid and other giants who have bid themselves 60 million British mirrors, which is the intention of directly paying liquidated damages. Didn't go to any of the big clubs, or did he follow the idea of being the king of the small team first, and the 2005/2006 season collapsed? The second year is worth only 1/3. Well, football is so cruel. Then transferred to a big club like Bayern, their own strength is still not enough to always sit on the cold bench, and the process after that is slowly buried. The development of the back has been seen many times. Su Long was originally to see how the situation of the Europa League semi-finals is, so he chose to watch the life experience. Flashback of the memory fragment. Su Long can know that he is very unfortunate. After 2006 when he went to Bayern, it was the most turbulent time for Bayern. The head coach changed once a season, and he could not enter the top 4 every year, and even could not play in the Champions League. Even worse than Manchester United today. From 2006 to 2009, don't go to Bayern, there is no future, and then come to the 2005/2006 season, because last season, Manchester City got the 4th place, so the base net got the trust of Manchester City's top management, and spent 30 million British rust to buy 3 players such as Irving. Su Long was also drunk, and the team's forward combination played well, that is, to do things. It cost 30 million to buy players such as Irving, and the result was a crushing defeat to Liverpool in the first game. After 5 consecutive winless games, only 1 game in 10 games was won, causing dissatisfaction among players and senior management, due to the random addition of players, resulting in a chemical reaction between players also, found that huge changes. Su Long and Jing Ji's play is not good. Under such circumstances, the top management is ready to fire the base network. I didn't expect that the base wind was very chicken thief, and found that the top management wanted to fire him, so he quickly fired Manchester City one step at a time, and took the initiative to leave the class, saying that he did not want to coach Manchester City, and could not get the support of the top management and fans, which was not interesting. Su Long can only say that you are really talented. Then, this season, 2 consecutive coaches were changed and Manchester City dropped straight from 4th place last season to 12th place in an instant. The whole team is in such an atmosphere, and naturally it is not playing well. It is no wonder that Su Long's value has dropped so much. Su Long can only say that the base network is really weak, according to Su Long's previous memory fragments. If it were not for Su Long helping Manchester City to fight to this extent, the base network would probably have been worn. In fact, the base network is completely stained with the light of Su Long. But he doesn't have such self-awareness, he is really weak, he doesn't feel weak, and he has to spend money and mess around. Su Long felt that according to the tactical style of play and the original personnel in the 2004/2005 season, it would not be enough to win only 1 of 10 games. The more you cook, the more you have to show. Su Long suddenly thought to himself, after the end of this season, Ji Feng is likely to still use money to buy people. It seems that I will not feel good next season. This is also Su Long self-defeating. The previous few simulations of Su Long can play several seasons at Manchester City. Although you change coaches, you can get the main position. That's because as the top scorer king of the small team, although he scored, he could not help Manchester City very well, so that Manchester City was in the 10th place for a long time. In this case, the top of the team was not willing to spend money. Then Su Long could continue to maintain the main position and keep the team lineup without much change, but to promote the development of Su Long. The result is now in reality, Su Long has pushed Manchester City to 2nd place. This year is the semi-finals of the Europa League, and next year is the Champions League. Manchester City's top management, as well as the base network, naturally have high expectations for next season and are willing to invest a lot of money. Then Kaifeng messed up again. This is worse than not investing money. After Su Long watched this memory fragment, he probably understood what was going on. But he understood, and couldn't stop it. The base network's coffee spot is much bigger than his. He's just an ordinary player. Can he still ask the team and the coach to buy someone and not sell someone? This is obviously impossible. So Su Long could only endure in silence. Unless they transfer again, Bayern, Barca, Real Madrid and other giants have contacted Su Long but have been rejected by Su Long. Since it was Su Long, it proves that Manchester City passed there. However, the transfer fee of 60 million British mirrors, which is originally the amount of liquidated damages, is indeed unstoppable for Manchester City. So do you want to transfer again? Wait until the end of the season, settle down, and then simulate it. Memory soon came to the Europa League finals. Well, Manchester City did not reach the finals and were beaten by Sporting Lisbon in the semi-finals. Su Long only saw a newspaper note from the memory fragment. Lisbon Sporting is the halftime hero, the halftime bear. Having the upper hand in the first 45 minutes and scoring a goal, Pizarro was overconfident at halftime and mistakenly believed that the CSKA defense had run out. Instead of choosing a reasonable tactic of taking the lead and retracting to fight back, he stood on the sidelines many times and ordered the fullback to press up again, creating more pressure on the other side. Sporting Lisbon's wingline breakthrough didn't work in front of the tall Russian defender, but the defense leaked a huge gap. Su Long groaned that as Sporting Lisbon was counterattacked by the defense. This was followed by the semi-finals, 2 games between Manchester City and Sporting Lisbon. After watching the game clip, Su Long was speechless. Nima, it turned out that in the first game, Manchester City was scored by Sporting Lisbon on the road, and the situation was lagging behind, and Kaifeng played offensive football with Lisbon in order to chase points, and as a result, Manchester City broke through Sporting Lisbon. The first game was lost in the match, and Keegan still couldn't turn his head and thought that he was going to attack after the points. So in the second game, Manchester City once again played offensive football with Lisbon, and then Manchester City was gone. Su Long was silent. From the perspective of so many times of The Sims, it seems that the base network is not a strong coach for this head. No wonder I haven't heard the name BaseNet in the future. Not really. Su Long rewatched the memory fragment of the Europa League semi-finals, taking a note that the 2 goals conceded by Sporting Lisbon were free kicks from both sides, wrapped up in double points in front of the goal, and then the header was scored. Their defenders don't play very well and don't do well when headers scramble for the top. Free kick tactics, you don't need all the people to press the attack. You can't play against Sporting Lisbon. Su Long silently wrote it down, and then looked for video footage related to Sporting Lisbon. Su Long did not go directly to the base network office, but went to find the coach Pierce, who usually had a topic, and asked Pierce for advice. In fact, I want to say it through Pierce's mouth. In order to win, Su Long is also well-intentioned. Hopefully, this will give Kaifeng a reminder. Now that's all Su Long can do. But although Pierce is young in the coach, he is also 40 years old and naturally not a fool, and although Kaifeng is stubborn, he is not a fool, and he knows what Su Long wants to do at once. Because Su Long openly and secretly taught Kaifeng how to deal with Lisbon Athletic, Kaifeng scolded Su Long several times for being nosy. Su Long also endured for the victory of the Europa League. Although Kaifeng was not happy with Su Long's chaotic command, after the concentrated discussion of the coaching team, he still agreed with the rationality of the materials provided by Su Long and carried out part of the training of defensive counterattack. On April 29, Manchester City traveled to Lisbon, the capital of Portugal, away to Sporting Lisbon. 43,400 Sporting Lisbon fans decorated the stands in turquoise. The VIP seats were also full of people, and the top brass of Sporting Lisbon were wearing green ties. For Sporting Lisbon, the place for the finals is at their home ball. Defeating Manchester City to reach the finals is a must-win. In the locker room, you can feel the fiery atmosphere outside. Kinet took the tactical board and said, "We are pressing in midfield. Don't be afraid. If they dare to fight with us, we will fight with them." Su Long nodded violently. His face agreed. MMP in his heart. Dead bump your head, defense, your sisters, the video for you is in vain. When he walked out of the locker room, Su Long Kai said to Jingji and Sun Jihai next to him, "Wait for the 2 of us not to rush to attack. The defense is important. Play defensive counterattack. We retreat to force them. Do not let them be comfortable to receive the ball." The formation of the BaseNet is 442, and the formation of the opposite Lisbon Athletic is also 442, but Su Long has already thought of retreating with Jingji to defend himself, so the formation of the BaseNet is actually 460. The match began with the first meeting in the history of Manchester City and Sporting Lisbon. As Su Long expected, after the opening, the Lisbon Sporting offensive at home was very fierce. The 2 commentators of CCVV5, Teacher Huang and Teacher Liu, are also very serious. From the very beginning, Sporting Lisbon showed us his superb attacking prowess, and Sporting Lisbon was the team that scored the most goals after the knockout rounds, scoring 12 goals in 3 rounds of knockout rounds. In the first 7 minutes of the match, Sporting Lisbon won 3 corners, but thankfully all 3 were cleared. Manchester City can only compress the defense, even Su Long and Jingji, directly into the box, to defend the pill.